Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Welcome back to another episode of Improving Your English in a fun and engaging way. I am Diego, and today we're diving into something really exciting. We're going to talk about a fascinating fact, but in two levels. This episode is all about helping you improve your vocabulary from basic to intermediate. By the end of this, you'll see just how much more you can say when you level up your language skills. But before we dive in, I'd love for you to take a moment to subscribe and follow us if you haven't already. Your support truly means the world to us. Every time you subscribe, share, or leave a comment, you're helping us reach more learners like you. It also keeps us motivated to create more episodes full of interesting stories and useful English tips. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep learning together. Now, back to the fun stuff. Did you know that chocolate was once used as currency? It's a pretty wild idea, right? In today's episode, I'm going to tell you that exact story in two ways. First, I'll tell it using simpler language, perfect for beginners. Then, I'll tell the same story again, but with more advanced vocabulary. You'll be amazed at how much more vivid and detailed the story becomes when you have a bigger range of words. Let's jump right in. Let's start with the first version, using a more simple level language. A long time ago, people in a place called Mexico used chocolate to buy things. These people were the Maya and the Aztecs. They did not eat chocolate like we do today. They used small beans from the chocolate plant to pay for food, clothes, and other things. The beans were like money. The Maya and Aztecs loved chocolate. They drank it, but it didn't taste sweet. It was bitter, and only special people like kings and important leaders could drink it. The beans were so important that people used them to buy many things. If you had a lot of beans, you were rich. Easy to understand, right? Now, let's take this story up a notch. I will say it all again in a more advanced level of vocabulary. Listen up. Centuries ago, in what is now Mexico, the Maya and the Aztecs used cacao beans as a form of currency. They didn't consume chocolate in the way we do today. Instead of eating it, they used cacao beans to trade for essential goods, such as food, clothing, and other commodities. These beans were regarded as valuable as coins. For the Maya and Aztecs, chocolate was a cherished drink, but it wasn't sweet like the chocolate we know. It was a bitter beverage, reserved mainly for the elite class, including rulers and warriors. Because of its significance, cacao beans were used to purchase many items, and those who had plenty of beans were considered wealthy. Now that you've heard the same story twice, let's take a moment to compare the two versions. You'll see how small changes in vocabulary can really affect the tone and depth of the story. In the basic level story, I said, a long time ago, people in a place called Mexico used chocolate to buy things. But in the advanced version, I said, centuries ago, in what is now Mexico, the Maya and the Aztecs used cacao beans as a form of currency. Notice how centuries ago gives a more specific time frame than a long time ago. And instead of use chocolate to buy things, I said, use cacao beans as a form of currency, which sounds more precise and formal. Here's another example. In the basic version, I said, the beans were like money. But in the advanced version, I said, these beans were regarded as valuable as coins. Here, regarded as valuable as coins is a more advanced way of saying like money. The sentence feels more descriptive and professional. And lastly, in the basic version, I used, if you had a lot of beans, you were rich. In the advanced version, it became, those who had plenty of beans were considered wealthy. Plenty is a slightly more advanced word than a lot of. and considered wealthy is a more formal way of saying you were rich. So, as you can see, the overall story stays the same, but the choice of words can make a huge difference in how the story sounds. With a richer vocabulary, you can express yourself more clearly and add more detail. In the first story, I kept it simple. I used basic words like buy, food, and money. These are words that beginners can easily understand. The sentences were short and clear, perfect for anyone who's just starting to learn English. But in the second story, I added more advanced words and expressions. I said economic value instead of just important. I talked about goods and services instead of just things. I even used phrases like spiritual and medicinal qualities to describe how chocolate was more than just food for the ancient people. So, why does this matter for you as a language learner? Well, as you expand your vocabulary, you'll find that you can express ideas more precisely and in greater detail. Instead of just saying that something is good or bad, you'll be able to describe it as valuable, crucial, essential, or even indispensable. These words carry more weight and help you communicate more effectively. The great thing about learning new words is that it opens up a whole new world of understanding. Just like how the story of chocolate became richer and more interesting with advanced vocabulary, your ability to communicate will grow as you learn more words. You'll be able to describe things in greater depth, have more complex conversations, and express yourself with confidence. So, here's a challenge for you. The next time you tell a story or explain something, try using new words you've learned. Don't just say important, try essential or crucial. Instead of saying things, try items or goods. You'll be surprised at how much clearer and more impressive your English will sound. All right, FluentCast listeners, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed learning about how chocolate was once used as currency and seeing how we can tell the same story with different vocabulary levels. Remember, the key to improving your English is consistent practice and, of course, learning new words. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you liked today's episode, feel free to share it with a friend or leave us a comment. Your feedback and support are what keep this podcast going. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next episode of FluentCast.